Welcome to the Raven Quick Start video for Raven 3.6. In this video, we'll show you how to register and install the Raven software for Windows. Let's get started. After plugging in the Raven, users will notice that Touch works natively on Windows. However, we recommend installing the Raven software as soon as possible. To do this, locate your passcode card and follow the instructions. First, navigate to slatemt.com /redeem-raven. Then select your OS. We're going to do Windows. We're going to authorize Pro Tools. Type in your email address. Type in your name and type in the passcode. Then hit send. Now users will log into your Slate product page and you'll notice Raven Windows. In here you could follow the setup tutorials, calibration tutorials, and quick start guides for your Raven batch command training. You can click here to buy an additional passcode for the Raven. And here you could download the installer for your Raven. Go ahead and click the download. And while it's installing, we'll register the iLock. So in your email, users will get a Raven activation details email. In here, copy your iLock code. Go to your iLock License Manager and click the Redeem tab in the top right. Paste in the code and hit Next. Please note you'll need an iLock 2 or 3 dongle to activate the software too. Next, click Activate. Now that activation is complete, we can install the software. Go to my downloads. And I'll run the Raven installer. In this installer, users will notice it installs Raven, Bonjour, the touch driver. If you're using an MTI1, you'll want to check the second box for the PQ screen touch driver. It's going to install the Microsoft library, vControl Pro, window layouts for Pro Tools and Cubase, key commands for Cubase, and the DAW preferences. Now click Next and hit Install. Now users will be prompted to install the UPDD touch driver. This is necessary to unlock multi-touch on the Raven software. After installation, users will be prompted by Windows Security to install the device. Be sure to check Always Trust Software from TouchBase and hit Install. Once installation for UPDD has completed, users will be prompted by UPDD for the identification process. And they should also notice that a device is connected. Click Finish. Now, users will be prompted to run vControl Pro. vControl Pro is necessary to connect the Raven faders and transport with the DAW. We will be showing how to configure vControl Pro later in this video. After installation is complete, users will be prompted to restart the computer. Hit No on vControl Pro and wait for the Raven setup to complete before restarting, and then restart the computer. After installation, users should have touch, and in the system tray icon, they'll notice this hand icon for the UPDD touch driver. Click it, and in status, users should notice it says Slate Media Technology Raven, status is OK. If using multiple displays, users will want to configure the touch driver. Click the icon from the system tray and hit Configure. This will prompt users to touch the cross on the touch screens and hit Next on the non-touch screens. Then, users can be prompted to calibrate the Raven touch If users have performed the configuration from UPDD and touch is still occurring on the incorrect monitor, users may need to configure the Windows native touch in the tablet PC settings. To do this, go to the control panel of Windows, and in Hardware and Sound, under Tablet PC Settings, click the Setup button. This will run users through a couple prompts to detect the touchscreens for Windows. Hit the Setup, and if it's a touchscreen, tap with your finger. If it's not a touchscreen, hit Enter. After this is complete, touch should show up on the correct display. If it is still on the opposite display, users will want to restart the computer. To confirm multi-touch is working with UPDD, open the Paint application and draw with multi-touch. If users cannot draw with multi-touch, there may be a permissions issue and further troubleshooting steps will be needed. Please check out the support article on unlocking Windows Native Touch with UPDD if this is the case. Next part of the setup, users will want to ensure the display settings are set to 1080p. In the displays, be sure the resolution is set to 1920 by 1080. Also, check the box to make the Raven the main display for easiest use. Next, we'll want to hide the taskbar to leave extra space for the Raven faders and the DAW. Right-click the taskbar, and in Taskbar Settings, select Automatically Hide the taskbar. Users may also want to relocate the taskbar to the top of the screen, as when hitting buttons on the bottom of the screen may bring up the taskbar. Since Windows has native touch gestures, we can swipe from the edge of the screen to show the desktops, swipe from the right of the screen to show the notifications, and swipe from the top of the screen to show the taskbar. Now, users will want to open vControl Pro. Windows will prompt the user to check these boxes to give vControl Pro access to these networks. Check the boxes and hit Allow Access. vControl Pro now has access to the local networks. In vControl Pro, in the Setups page, users should notice the V window here. This will ensure that vControl Pro is properly connected to the network. Now, we can launch the Raven software. Users will need to hit Yes in User Account Control, or if users would like to turn this off, select User Account Control Settings and set these to Never. Now users will not be prompted to allow the application when launching every time. Open the Raven software, and this will launch the Raven dashboard. Windows has prompted us for security to give the Raven access to the networks. Check the boxes and hit Allow Access. Users will now see the Raven dashboard. This Raven dashboard will show all installed DAWs and their license status. In the Settings tab, we can set up the default navpad scrolling and touchscreen settings. In Tutorials, you could load videos and manuals. Now to set up the Raven with Pro Tools, hit the Open button, and this will automatically launch Pro Tools and the Raven software. Now that the Raven is open, we'll need to configure. Bring your edit window over to the main display, and then hit Maximize on the parent window. On the edit window, we'll want to be sure to not block the racks. So adjust this accordingly. Users will need to be sure to enable keyboard focus. As you can see, some of the key commands do not respond in Pro Tools. So we enable keyboard focus. Now our key commands work. Users should also enable link timeline and edit selection, as this is very useful when using a batch command such as mute selected track. you can see it mutes the selected track, or if we don't have this enabled, it's going to mute the selected track even though we've selected this area on the timeline. Users will also notice the play and stop button push down but do not trigger Pro Tools. This is because we need to set up the Huey preferences. So under MIDI input devices, be sure vControl, XT2 and XT3 are checked on. Then under peripherals, under the MIDI controllers tab, set 3 banks of Huey, receive from vControl, send to vControl. On the second port, set this to receive from vControl XT2 and send to XT2. On the third port, set this to vControl XT3 and send to vControl XT3. Be sure to leave the fourth port disabled, as the Raven only needs 3 ports to run. Now you'll see the stop button is pushed down and our transport responds to the Raven. Finally, we'll need to configure the preferences. So in Setup, Preferences, under Displays, set this to Category Manufacturer. In the Mixing tab, select Always Fill Channel Strips when banking. Set up your default EQ and dynamics for the batch commands, and hit OK. Now when we bank and we utilize batch commands, they will all work correctly, as you see our default EQ and dynamics are listed in here now. Next, we'll need to align the internal mixer. When we switch to the internal mixer, users may notice it is not syncing with the Pro Tools mixer. To do this manually, we can drag the tracks list to the red line. Be sure we are not showing narrow mix mode and that we are only showing 10 inserts. To do this automatically, users can import window configurations. So if we are misaligned, we can go File, Import Session Data. We'll go to the Documents folder, Pro Tools, Session Templates, Raven Templates, and in here we'll select our window configuration. We're on single Raven, so I'll select single, and then I'll check the box for window configurations. Now in the Windows menu, I'll select the mix window, and the mix window will automatically size to align with the internal mixer. Users will need to do this for any older sessions, however newer sessions will keep the current window configuration. But an easy way to always have access to these window configurations is to save your session as a template, or even template, new. And then when you start a new session, select that template, and the Raven will automatically load with the correct window configurations. So if something gets out of sync, we can just select the window configuration, and it'll sync right back into place.
You will be prompted with a warning message regarding Huey incompatibility. This is completely normal. Check the Don't Show This Again option and click OK. The Raven software application has the option to choose between 2 mixers. The first is called the external mixer, labeled Extern Mixer. This is our own skin mixer application that floats on top of Pro Tools. The other mixer is called the internal mixer, labeled Intern Mixer. This integrates directly into the Pro Tools mixer seamlessly.
The Raven faders are precise, smooth, and reactive with 5 millisecond response time and with support of up to 12 simultaneous multi-touch points on the MTX, up to 6 on the MTI, and up to 10 on the MTI2. When mixing, I don't even have to keep my finger on the fader. It's easy to grab multiple faders from all over the console and control them however you feel comfortable, and you can do this without looking at the screen. On the external mixer, the pans are rotary. On the internal mixer, the pans are linear, meaning they can be modified by moving vertically as displayed. The Fine Faders button allows for as little as half dB automation and moves easily because I can quadruple the resolution. To adjust the response of the Fine Faders, simply push and hold the Fine Faders button on the Raven toolbar and move the slider left to right, 1 being slowest and 20 being fastest. You can also activate the Fine Faders feature to specific tracks. Push and hold the dB display on the mixer and the single track will turn yellow, indicating Fine Fader mode. Press and hold again to remove just one track, or double tap the Fine Faders button to remove them all. I can bank tracks by swiping on the lower third of the fader plate, using one finger to bank one track or two fingers to bank sets of 24. Note, if there are less than 24 tracks in the direction you're swiping, the Raven will not bank. Switch to one finger in this example. You can use one finger to continuously bank in the desired direction, and Raven will continue until you stop. In addition to gesture banking, we've included banking buttons located on the Raven toolbar that can be toggled between 24 tracks and one track at a time. Push and hold either of the banking buttons like so to switch between the two variations. The icon palette is designed to encourage visibility and organization. Press and hold the black square beneath the track name on the Raven mixer until the floating icon palette appears. We've included a few tabs of new default icons as well to allow users to upload their own icons for use in their Raven sessions. Details on saving Raven sessions is explained in a later section of this video. To place an icon, touch to select the image and it will highlight yellow. Then either tap the icon space where you'd like to place the image, or swipe across multiple tracks to add the image to more than one as displayed here. To upload an icon to the palette, press the Browse button on the bottom right of the icon palette. Locate the image you wish to upload from the file browser and load it. The image is now located in your User tab on the icon palette. To place it, follow the same procedure as explained previously. With the Raven External Mixer, open a plugin by hitting the INS button next to the Record button on the Raven Mixer, and select the plugin you wish to open from the floating window. Now, just reach out and tweak the actual plugin controls. To close the plugin, we've included a gold touch button located on the Raven toolbar labeled Close Plugin. Always use this when closing a plugin, as the close buttons on plugins themselves are too small for touch. Once the plugin is closed, you can use this again to quickly recall the last plugin you were working on by hitting the button again. There is also a Hide Floating Window button on the Raven toolbar that will toggle on and off all last used floating windows, including sends and surround panners. This button functions similar to the Close Open plugin button. However, it is for all floating windows, including the memory locations and automation windows. To initiate a plugin from the external mixer, hit the INS button and touch a No Insert rack from the floating window. Once your empty insert appears, load from the empty Pro Tools insert window by navigating through the drop-down menus. Press and hold the plugin insert, and without lifting your finger from the screen, move through the drop-down menus like so.
To select the plugin, confirm your finger is over the listed plugin and the menu item is highlighted, and remove your finger from the screen. The plugin will load, and you can demonstrate making a tweak to the plugin like so.
With the Raven Internal Mixer, open a plugin by touching an existing plugin on an insert rack as demonstrated, and again tweak, close, and recall the same as demonstrated previously. Loading plugins from the menu is done by holding your finger down on an empty insert rack and navigating through each of the drop-downs without lifting your finger until you've reached your desired plugin. Be sure that the desired plugin is highlighted and your finger is over it like so before lifting your finger to select the plugin. When adjusting plugins, note that most function by linear adjustment. However, Slate and other developers will offer plugins with multi-touch rotary capability in the near future, such as the Slate Digital Virtual Mix Rack. The Raven External Mixer has multi-touch access to the A through E sends. Touch the Sends button to flip the Raven Mixer to the Raven Sends. Here I can tweak my sends as well as my multi-touch rotary send pan knobs.
I can select multiple tracks with a swipe. I just hit the black Control modifier button, labeled Control, on the Raven toolbar and glide my finger across my desired tracks. I can quickly select all tracks by toggling the black Option and Control modifier buttons and touching any track.
I can solo or mute a bunch of my tracks by swiping my solo or mute buttons. I can even skip a few tracks by moving my finger below the buttons and then continuing to swipe, easily skipping my undesired tracks. On the external mixer, I can change my automation by swiping. I can change one track or multiple tracks. On the internal mixer, I can change my automation by choosing from the drop-down menus like so, or use a batch command to change any selected tracks all at once, or to choose an automation with just one button. Details on the batch command system will be covered later in this video. Use the Edit Mix button on the Raven toolbar to move to the Pro Tools Edit window. Here you can adjust how many Raven toolbar racks you would like visible and adjust the size of the edit window accordingly. You can activate the multi-tool by pressing 2 fingers on the Trim and Select buttons on the Raven toolbar at the same time, and this will be indicated by turning the Trim, Select, and Grab tools yellow. All of the tools on the top of the Pro Tools window are easily accessible on the Raven toolbar. When there are multiple variations of a tool for one button, simply tap multiple times to scroll between types of tools. Watch me move different types of pencil tools. On the Raven toolbar, we've included the Flip toolbar buttons on the bottom right of the Raven toolbars, which allows users to move between the 3 main toolbars on each layout. To use, I'll hit the Flip toolbar button, which opens a floating menu with my up and down arrows. Now I can use the arrows to move through my toolbars. To close the Flip toolbar mode, you'll need to use the Flip toolbar button again to deactivate the floating window. We've included duplicates of this toolbar across your toolbars to use on each toolbar to preference. I can use my finger to easily grab regions, fade, move, and I can even use my fingers as the pencil tool to draw an automation. I just change the automation to Volume, select my pencil tool from the Raven toolbar, and draw.
On the Raven toolbar, there is a nav pad designed for the toolbar, as well as a floating nav pad. Both function the same to navigate through one session. On the nav pad, the track zoom toggle is selected. I can quickly zoom horizontally in and out of my track with one finger swipes on the nav pad. Simply swipe left or right to control the size of the track horizontally. Using 2 fingers on the nav pad, I can scroll through the session up or down, left or right. You can also scroll through the session with 2 fingers anywhere on the edit window like so. You can also select Scrub or Shuttle. With the desired button selected, just swipe left or right with 1 finger on the nav pad. When using the nav pad, you are not confined to the rectangular area around it. Activate the nav pad by touching inside the rectangle and then freely moving outside of the designated area without lifting your finger from the screen. The nav pad is also capable of adjusting its response specific to the user's preference. Go to Settings on the Raven toolbar and press the nav pad response button. Adjust from 1 to 20, 1 being the slowest response and 20 being the quickest response. We have set the nav pad to default on regular movement settings. However, we have now included the option to invert the direction response by toggling to Inverted on the nav pad response window in Raven settings. The Raven software is completely customizable. Simply hit the Customize Toolbar button on the right of the Raven toolbar, and you will be able to freely relocate your controls to a custom design and even save each customization as different layouts by hitting the Save Layout button and selecting a layout number you wish to save to. The layout is now saved to that number and can be quickly recalled at your discretion. You can have up to 8 unique layouts per Raven session and unlimited Raven sessions, allowing you unlimited layout capability. When saving your Pro Tools session, we have included a touch button on the Raven toolbar that will save your Pro Tools session information. We have also included a Save Raven Session button. This button saves a .ravlay file anywhere on your computer you choose. A Raven session contains information about what your layouts look like, which windows are displayed, where your floating tools are located, batch command location and contents, and even session icons saved. When making changes to layouts, it is important to save your layout changes separate from the full Raven session. After changes have been made to a toolbar on a layout, hit Save Layout and then overwrite the current one by touching the highlighted layout. You'll see the Save Layout light turn off as a confirmation of its saving. Once your layout is saved, you can save your Raven session. These multicolored and/or gray buttons are batch commands. The batch command system is a series of single buttons that can execute up to 1,000 key commands, menu selections, and mouse clicks. The Raven software comes equipped with over 80 preset batch commands. However, it is also very easy for you to create your own and even share them with other Raven users. In Raven settings, hit the Switch Default Layout button to select between various types of preset default layouts we have created for you that specialize in specific workflows. Blank is as it sounds, an empty layout for you to customize and save from scratch. Basic is the layout that will load when the software is first opened and restored to factory default. Here we have created 4 layouts that provide a basic approach to the batch commands to get up and running quickly. To program a batch command, push and hold one of the batch command buttons. If empty, the menu will appear blank. However, if you are overwriting a batch command with previous programming, hit the Clear All button in the batch command menu and the button will be ready for programming. To enter a key command, hit the Key Command button on the batch command menu and then enter your desired key command. To the right of the key command on the command line, you can add delay to the key command prior to launch or even add a number of repetitions you would like the command to perform before moving to the next line in the command sequence. As an example, let's make a batch command that will create 5 new audio tracks. Hit the key command button and enter Ctrl-Shift-N. Repeat this command 5 times by entering a 5 in the space for number of repetitions to the right of the command, and then again, hit the key command button and type Enter on the keyboard's number pad. Now, I'll name the batch command 5 new audio tracks and give it a color by touching one. To save this batch command for future use, I hit the Save button. It is now located in my User tab to quickly recall later. To lock in this custom batch command into my Open Batch Command button, simply hit Confirm on the batch command menu and now try touching the batch command and watch it create 5 new audio tracks for you automatically. In the batch command menu, you can also access preset batch commands as well as the custom batch commands you have saved. Touch the Quick List button to open access to preset mouse click and menu items to program into your command line. Let's create a batch command that will add my favorite vocal plugin chain to my selected tracks and save it to our Quick List user tab. First, hit the Quick List button, and in the search bar on the top, let's search for Add Fave Plugin 1 on Insert 1, and hit Select here. Next, in the search box, type Hide All Floating Windows. Press Select. Last, search Add Fave Plugin 2 to Insert 2. And once again hit Select here. Close the Quick List using the Close button. Let's name it Vocal Plugin Chain, give it a color, and hit Save and then hit Confirm. Now, let's put it into action. Simply select the tracks you wish to add the vocal plugin chain to and hit our newly created custom batch command and watch it do the work for you. Not only can you save custom batch command scripts, but you can also save entire batch command panels to easily relocate them across your layouts. Push and hold the batch command panel's label until a dialog window appears. Here, you can name and color code your batch command panel and save them to your quick list by hitting Save. Hitting Save will locate your saved batch command panel to the quick list here. You can see the name and size of the saved batch command panels here. To add a saved batch command panel to an empty batch command panel, press and hold the label area of the batch command panel until the dialog window appears and hit Quick List. Search and select the batch command panel you wish to load and confirm the size of the panel matches the Quick List item selected by reviewing the Size column. Once confirmed, hit Select. Now, just name your batch command panel and give it a color. Then hit Confirm. Importing a batch command is simple. In the Batch Command System menu, hit Quick List and select the User tab from the top. Now hit the Load button and locate the .ravbc file on your computer. Select the file and Raven will import the file into your User tab. Exporting is similar. From your User tab, select one of your saved batch commands and hit Export. This will save the file to your desired location and can now be shared with other Raven users. To go through our batch command for Windows Pro Tools Basic Training, click here. For a comprehensive coverage of the basic preset layout, please review the user manual and videos located in Raven settings here.
We've created tons of great preset batch commands across your layouts, and I've also shown you how to customize your own batch commands using key commands and quick list items. Another really powerful feature to the batch command system is the ability to record your own custom mouse clicks. Push and hold a batch command to open the batch command system programming menu. Now we'll hit the record button and watch the batch command system record your mouse clicks and key commands in the sequence you perform them. Once completed, hit the record button again and name your new batch command. This will save to your User Recordings tab for later use as well. Now I'll just add my new recording into the batch command line, give the button a name and color, and hit Confirm. Now, watch my new custom recorded batch command perform a key command and mouse click.
In addition to the Raven toolbars, we've also included 2 fully customizable floating tool palettes. The first of 2 is called the Floating Toolbar, and the other called the Essentials palette. Both are designed for adding a select group of tools for managing screen real estate. I can add tools by, again, customizing my toolbar. When the tools are arranged on one or both of my floating tool palettes to my preference, I hit Customize Toolbar again and my layout has been saved. I can then toggle them on and off by hitting the Floating Toolbar, Essentials buttons on the Raven toolbar. The floating mixer is your direct access to multi-touch faders and pans in the edit window. The floating mixer offers the same capabilities as the Raven external mixer, including the ability to swipe automation, solos, and mutes, and adjust the size of the window itself by hitting the addition and subtraction buttons on the top left of the floating mixer. I can even gain access to my multi-touch rotary pan knobs by hitting the pan button on the top left of the floating mixer to toggle between automation and pans. The Raven software requires the following minimum computer requirements to function properly. Raven will not work on an operating system earlier than Windows 7. On the MTX and MTI, we recommend a computer with a minimum of 2.3 GHz processing power, a graphics card with a minimum of 512 MB of VRAM and at least 4 GB of RAM. However, 8 GB of RAM is recommended. We are available for you to answer questions or comments Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via our online support help desk, slatesupport.com. From all of us here at Slate, thank you for your attention and welcome to the future of studio control.